too personal.
Yeah.
You're glad to be speaking together?
Yeah, because I've been feeling like these waves of being touched by going through a lot of the um intellectual body things that have come through you over the last um 10 days really. I've been going through a lot of the recordings that you've got and um uh like yeah, research papers that you've been sending through and other things that I've found connecting also to research around um, working with people with trauma, and I feel really touched because it's like a cycle is happening because I've been introduced to it first not through my intellectual body. Like I met you and so much happened just by starting to feel myself and to process things myself. And it's like part of me got what you do before learning it intellectually. And now it's just like, okay, so that is, that
That's what she was doing.
was doing, yeah, that's what she was picking up.
Ellen Appleton said exactly the same thing. Having watched you hold the BCB space and people going to their feelings quick.
Yeah.
Nice. I love hearing that.
Yeah. And my joy is also around like how go going through stuff myself and then sort of starting to hold space for other people and already because I've gone through things, I already have like references in me. And now it just gets richer again, having these maps that are coming out um, through you and then the research stuff as well. It's like, okay, well, it's all there. And yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah,
Yeah.
and one thing I'd said to Clinton when I met him again when he came in 2019, February and March, I said to him, I'd put all this in the graveyard, all my decades of learning with my dear mentor Richard Erskine, all the things I'd drawn, and I threw loads of books away, not gave them away. So then I refound my joy in that lab.
Mm.
Ah, and
Mm.
to be able to integrate. Yeah, it's an integration time for me to do these things.
Hmm. Did you put it out because you kind of like had it already like pretty clear in you, so you didn't really need the, like you say, you put it in the graveyard, like you didn't need all the like solid material or
Oh, I was turning my back on TA. It's when I extricated myself from registration as a psychotherapist. I wanted to come out of that really patriarchal uh, governing body and as a registered counsellor.
Mhm.
So, and I'd found possibility management and was loving it, still do. And
Mm.
now, especially for people who've got, if we talk attachment theory, disorganized or anxious attachment styles, what I'm bringing,
Mm.
uh, I think is important roadmaps and methodology.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to be doing it with you. I'm glad you're finding it helpful.
Yeah, I want to speak about that. And also like being outside of being a registered person, do you like as part of a registered council, do you get a sense that you have more like you're more effective because you have
Well,
mm.
no, because if I whisper, I've always been unorthodox.
Yeah.
I've always been willing to be an edge worker and be on the edge and question and not stick to the rules, not from a rebellion, from hang on, this doesn't weigh up for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the kind of regulatory bodies that say it's unethical to touch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's times when it's unethical not to touch.
Mm.
And I was willing to be I was said, even if a complaint comes, I will stand by my philosophy and my principles. So, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me, what was the video? You did a video with Gabriella on the power, the position of
Relationship
power.
to power diagram.
Relationship to power. And you were speaking about the ulterior level communication and how it's at that level that the transaction is happening, or like the real message is coming across. And like, yeah, I feel really glad to hear you say that, because on one level it can look like a really responsible form of communication and like really clear. And yeah, I notice I feel sad as well, because I feel like some people can become really good at faking, even with possibility management language, and what's really being said isn't with like the real communication, which like in my language it's like the other parts of you pick up on, like being aware of the bigger picture and like where this person's really coming from, and yeah, to be able to trust that and move with that.
So say a little more about your sadness. You feel sad.
Yeah, to be honest, what actually came up for me then was Dan Palmer having like quite a clever intellectual body and being able to hold really nuanced like discussions, and kind of like fooled me that he was all good, like he had it together, and he wasn't.
Yeah, and I think that's one of my sensitivities. Like, yeah, I hear these concepts, but hang on, my energetic body is picking up a total other communication.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I used to think, oh, it's something wrong with me. How come I can't connect with people who talk in concepts?
Mm.
And I think it's for that. And as you're sharing your sadness, my sense is, I think it's probably some of the people we lose in possibility management.
Mm.
That what you and I are going to talk about today will speak to.
Mm.
The ones who didn't have a strengthened adult ego state. And that some of the sometimes the shame-based conclusions and process can be further reinforced. It hasn't shifted things. I'm still feeling this. Yeah, I don't think the, shooting voices is the intervention that's going to create the shift when someone has a hugely confused child ego state, which is what we've agreed to talk about today.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
How do you want to begin?
I've sent you so I'm going to get the map. Hope it's just sitting here, the one relationship to power, because for me, attachment theory and the confused child ego state are so intertwined. So I'm going to grab it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've got it electronically anyway to send, but that was the map you're talking about before.
This
Find
is
a way to put I'll put it on my website or wherever it needs to go that people can access it. Yeah, so Byrne had many stages of treatment. First, analyzing, knowing what ego state we were in, which is what we do in possibility management. And then decontamination. There's another video we could do about the theory that sometimes people are in constant ego states, constant parent or constant child, or that we exclude, is talking about excluded ego states. So let's keep that separate for clarity for this conversation.
Yeah.
However, I'm more and more appreciating his wisdom. He was quite a wizard. So after decontamination, when we know what's in the parent, what's our adult, what's child, then he talked about deconfusion. And I've drawn my attempt this morning, I couldn't find the other one, of what would I think confusion looked like. So this is the child ego state. In transactional analysis, I don't know if in possibility management we do it. We know we're talking about an ego state when we've got the capital letter, C for child, P for parent, A for adult, as opposed to when we were little and actually physical children. And it's why, for me, I still prefer to use Byrne's original terms, as he did, archaeopsyche, historic. So we're not confusing what's in here is only when I was a little girl. So I much prefer the word archaeopsyche because it's any unintegrated experiences. Yes.
And that, yeah.
Go.
And that could actually come from yesterday.
Totally. Or last year. Totally. So I'm actually going to write this in for people who might watch it. So archaeo meaning historic.
Yeah.
Psyche. So especially when people are coming to a building communication bridges training for the first time, I talk about the historic ego, the current ego, which is the adult. And Byrne's original term for that was neo-psyche, meaning new or now.
Now.
Or the borrowed ego. So when he reduced it so everybody, simplified it so everybody could understand his language, that's when he called it the parent ego state, instead of the word introjection, which is the psychological word. And his term, exterior psyche, that which is external to us, churches, institutions, school, parents, older siblings.
Yeah.
Tell me what your
the external, like this authority, this external authority thing, like this is how life should go, this you're good, you're bad, this.
Yep, rules, other people's values.
And I'm not sure if I watched a shame video that you did yesterday. I watched it yesterday. And you brought the part about the goal, or like one of the most delicious places to get to is like this place of autonomy where spontaneity is there and the ability to have intimacy and to create. And I sense there's some connection there of where this fits in, because it's like when the neo-psyche is on board and has space, you have access to that or anyone has access to that ability to to just be like experiencing life and to have power to create and
Ah.
yeah.
Thank you. And yes, I do want to do my model of ego states based on Hagedorn and Sills. So let me see, have I got a piece of paper here to draw it? It has to be it. I love that there's more videos bubbling up inside me. So they drew the adult ego state as a heart. And before we start doing our work, I'm drawing the child ego, let's stick to the terms I want to use. Archaeopsyche in red.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do black for the parent. Black for the exterior psyche.
Mm-hmm.
So before we start doing our healing work, look how much room, this is the now, look how much of it is filled with the exterior psyche and the archaeopsyche, the child and the parent.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more I've become aware of, well, whose thinking is this? Whose attitude is it? Those autonomic behaviors of copying my mum or other significant figures. Then this has shrunk then. I'm running out of paper here. I want to learn how to draw on this whiteboard on the Zoom.
Ah.
So that then eventually, at the moment, this is my thinking. Under stress, I think, I know, I resort to old patterns and old coping mechanisms. So I've left it in there. I've left the archaeopsyche, red, the exterior psyche there. And there's that much more adult for creating what you're talking about, the autonomy triangle I drew, capacity for intimacy, creating spontaneity and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's another topic. So the two videos, one with Irene and the one that we haven't reviewed yet with Daphne,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're both illustrating what I've drawn here. So what I propose anybody watching this video does is, without the theory, how would you capture, I'm going to ask you to do it, Millicent, how would you visually draw your sadness for the needs that weren't met or maybe still aren't met, relational needs in particular, when you were younger? What would be your spontaneous way of capturing that? Of this, your sadness, say, not having a reliable, stable, predictable other. How would you capture your sadness about that if you draw it in a circle of your child ego state?
If I was going to draw my child ego state and that sadness there, like most of my ego state would be that sadness.
Mm-hmm. Find a way to capture it, when maybe we can add it into this recording at some stage. And how would you draw your anger? No, was your anger allowed and welcomed as a young child? Or was it
No.
suppressed? So how could you show it that anger wasn't allowed, so you suppressed it?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And was fear, did people notice when you were scared and attune to your fear? And then hold a space for you for your nervous system to be regulated.
Mhm.
And was joy and exuberance welcome in your home, Millicent?
Oh. No, like, yeah, I noticed there's even a cap for that.
Mm. And then what reactions would your parents have given you if you had sadness, anger, fear, or joy? Find a way to visually capture their reaction to your feelings.
Mm. Mhm.
May I have a look at what you've captured so far?
Yeah, I try and explain this.
Mm.
The the shaded bit is my anger, and my sadness, and it's all is the swirly bits, and the box around the edges, the fear,
Mm.
like this couldn't really move. And then there's something in my parents, like, yeah, like none of it's really, it's sort of like hidden. All of that is sort of hidden. It's like it's happening, but I can't really see it because they've got like, don't go there, not too far there, not much there,
Mm.
kind of
Mhm.
thing.
And would you describe their parenting of you as consistent? Were your needs and emotions consistently attuned to,
Mhm.
or inconsistently attuned to?
Mm. In inconsistently.
Yeah, so inconsistently consistent
Yeah,
usually creates the anxious attachment style
yeah,
because the needs are met sometimes, but not all the time.
yeah.
Now I'm thinking of 1977, holy moly, when I did psychology at university and we had to do the experiment with the rats being fed. And when
Mhm.
it was inconsistent that they tapped the bar and the food didn't come out, it made them really anxious. Really, they didn't know when they were going to get a piece of food for tapping the bar. God, I haven't
Mhm.
thought about that. Now it makes sense to me what we were doing. I hadn't a fucking clue at the time, but now I get it. And then some people are consistently, some parenting, because of their own trauma, are consistently unavailable. So then this is why I want you to draw this. Were you ever punished for having, yeah. So I was looking at how can people draw visually their own confused child ego state that has all these aspects of experience poured together, the Greek word to confuse, to pour together.
Mm.
And why this is important for me in the space holding is my job is to help them separate. Oh, so that was your mum and dad's reaction to you having anger. So I'll bring my one in now. I tried to find the impact of others. No, not all. The impact is one thing. Others' reactions, I haven't got that in there. So we need another thing. So not only the impact of their reaction to me having a need. You, mum, can have a biscuit. No, you've just had your lunch. Oh, so that. So not only their reaction is in here, which I haven't captured, but the impact of their reaction is also stored in this because there's been nowhere to articulate what that experience was like.
Do you mean the impact of the parent reaction or
Yeah.
the? Yeah.
I think they're two separate things. Wow, how did your mum react when you did?
Mm.
Oh, well, she walked away and went to bed. Oh,
And yeah, I just wanted to pause for a minute because it's, I mean, I don't know for how long, but to bring in the bit about holding space for an emotional healing process. And so opening a space for somebody to lower their numbness bar a little bit more and start to feel some feelings or emotions. It's like the importance of being aware of this is that I get something about it not being, it's not a some like the actual space can become like really threatening to the person going through the EHP, and so they just shut down and don't want to do it at all because it's like suddenly the things are moving and there's another person there, such as a space holder, and they might be saying things like, what are you feeling? And then this goes into somebody as somehow like I'm wrong, but it's going through the person's mechanism of feeling. Yeah, I think right now I'm just like following my fear around holding space and my fear of inviting somebody to feel, and then sometimes I've noticed that it's like this fear of the feeling and fear of the fear and then fear of the actual process.
yeah.
And it's
Totally, Millicent. Totally. And I don't want them to start feeling till
yeah.
I really understand why was it a good idea to numb.
Yeah.
So I've sent you that umbrella of motivation. I'm hunting for the motivation for them creating the exact survival system that they did. And I can feel I'm losing my sadness now. It was so creative to do exactly that. So there's no way I want them to start feeling because that will be more invasion. I don't want to be invasive. They've had enough of that.
Yeah.
So I love I mean, this is my approach, and not for everybody, only for people with this disorganized and anxious attachment style. where at an experiential level, people decided to numb. So I really want to know, why was that a good idea? Because in that research, a whole lot of information comes out for them.
Mm.
Well, because when I was angry once, Mum slapped me and put me in my room, and I wasn't allowed any dinner. Don't you ever say no to me again. So then it's like this electrode is stored in this. And that's why I wanted to catch the punishment part this morning when I was drawing it. So then
Yeah.
people's fear of punishment. So not only not allowed the anger, don't you ever, so you've got this indictment, this huge injunction, don't you ever say no to me again. You've got withdrawal and separation, so the pain of that, plus no dinner. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
powerful conditioning. So how does a kid make sense of that? They don't. And that's then, this is why I was bringing in the excluded ego states. People will exclude their child ego state. So it's out of awareness to it, cover it with their parent ego state.
Mhm. And then it's a pretend adult.
Well, there's no real adult there. It's the
That's not
parent. It's the adult in the parent ego state. Yeah. Anything you want to say, Millicent?
Yeah, I feel glad and I feel sad. I feel glad that this is coming out, and I'm like, I want this to start bringing it to people, this, because I feel sad about seeing the pressure in people raising children from a parent ego state and thinking that is how you be an adult. And then I feel sad because I see like the pain in that person trying to raise a child from yeah, from their own unprocessed stuff hidden under their parent ego state.
Totally. I did it. The way I survived my childhood was, so this is now second order structure that I did it on the symbiosis. In my, so the theory goes, you split the parent in your child. So when I was a little girl and coming from a parent ego state, you split it. There's the all good part, the all bad. In my fairy godmother part, when I'm a mum, I'll never do this. I remember making that decision. My coping mechanism was to think how I would be as a parent later. So unfortunately, I did compensatory parenting, which wasn't what my children needed.
Mm.
Thankfully, I had 4 of them, so that each time, because I learned so much of my own traumas and uncles. But yeah, I was parenting a lot from my parent ego state.
Did you start going through your own healing when you were a mother?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I got into relationship, when I got married and lived with Steve, the boy's dad, I hadn't a clue why occasionally the house would get spotless. Clean the bath, the windows would be done, everything was done. Talk about what do we call it? At whiz bang speed.
Yeah.
No connection with how come sometimes the house got spotless, especially once a month premenstrually. And it took ages for me to know, I think it's because I'm angry. Like such was the separation of my emotions from my intellectual body.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did compensatory parenting. And there's the impact of that on my children. I mean, they're adults now, on the adults that I gave birth to. I don't- Yeah, I'm laughing because I don't know how to find language. They're not my children. They've never been mine, and they're
Mm.
not children. Yeah, I didn't have the skills then. However, I had the training to be able to offer these now as a resource to parents. And
Yes.
it's why when we did the Kiri Kiri family camp, the first one in New Zealand for PM, they wanted to do just children. And I said, no, I don't want to be part of it. Thanks. But if you make it for all the family, for the parents and the children, I'll have the parents. So I did 2 days of the joys and challenges of parenting, and I love it.
Mm.
Yeah. So like me, when I became a parent as well as living in relationship with my husband, that's how my healing started.
Mm.
So yeah, the interview or the session with Daphne, that is again, it's totally shown the injunctions she decided and confusion in her child ego state. So then my role's not only completion loops.
Yes.
Like I said in another video, I become the grounding cord. I become the bubble.
Yeah.
It really touches me. And I become the center, as in the maypole, around which all these different parts can come and be seen, come to consciousness.
Yeah.
You look like you're feeling something, Millicent.
Yeah, I am. I feel touched, sadness around hearing you say that. And I'm still connecting to my own. I really get that I can, like what you're saying is I can like walk on, like I get it, like I have a reference point in what you're saying. And so I remember through my own processes, like I remember a couple of years ago at New Year's, the first thing I did was draw. When I first met you, you gave me a pen and paper and like draw your mechanism. Oh, I don't actually remember what the question was, but I remember having drawn something, and I was like, "What do I do with this?" And it was just the start. Like it's the start of giving me like I'm not crazy. Like it is real. Like it's not, there is a way. And then before anything could really start moving in me, I watched a lot of other people going through processes first and starting to feel, and then I'd go away. I spent a lot of time going away, and
Yeah, I
so
think you went away for digestion and see, for me, that's important. If that's been your mechanism, I didn't have any problem with you withdrawing when you needed to.
yeah,
And so that we know your rhythm.
yeah.
So I'd want to find a way to bring in the umbrella diagram I sent to you. I have to share screen. Share screen, where? There, green. And am I looking for it? Shall I look for it, Millicent, on my Google Drive?
So it's, oh yeah, you've got your screen shared now.
So if I go to, I'll find it, I hope. I think that'll be quickest.
Yeah.
So this is a diagram again I did for my, hang on, I have to move you. We can chop all this logistics out of the video.
Mhm.
Copy of it there.
Mm.
So again, for me, people who haven't had a space for them to know what they even think themselves, they've been told what to think. It's really important for me
Yeah.
that I don't put in my theory, but I help them discover it. And I remember your friend that came to Ahia to Manawa, and I simply said, draw me what I'd said to you. Draw me how it goes. And so then it's their map and their theory, and then it's theirs. And why I'm bringing you this one is the theory of motivation. So the philosophy, I've put my philosophy or yours, the values that matter, I've put as the tip of the umbrella. And what I'm wanting to do, especially with someone with a confused ego state, is to look at the motivation. So I've put theory of motivation in there. The theory of their interacting. And I won't go through the 6 because that's particularly connected to transactional analysis. But no, there we go. Number 6 is the life positions. So this one, oh no, you can't see this now, eh?
I can't see it clearly because you're small, but I know the map that you're showing.
So then we look at the relationship to power diagram. Number 3, this is drama triangle. So yeah, some of them still apply here in possibility management. And then what I'm doing these recordings of, the contact interruptions, I put on the, what are we calling it in this? SSE, Survival System Engineering. The contact interruption was those 5 Ds. So distancing in relationship, because we're engaged in a driver behavior. Denial of our thoughtware of the intellectual body. Denial, not only are we denying something happened, but we're thinking about it in such a way that it's not clear. We blur it. Then disavowal, cutting off feelings. Desensitization of the physical body, and disassociation of our experience of the whole lot. So that's the contact interruptions.
And that's like contact with other humans. That's the way
with
that
ourselves first,
with
and
ourselves.
then of course with others.
Yeah.
The script system I haven't done yet, but we do use the ego state model in possibility management. And the self in relationship model is the survival system engineering that the video I've done. So some of the other ones I want to do with you. So the keyhole diagram is some of the methodology. It's a beautiful map. Let's do one of those with whoever wants to do an interview. And what you see in lots of the pieces of work I've put on my YouTube channel is contact facilitating relationship-oriented methods, so that all these different aspects of them can have a space to untangle. Any comments about my umbrella diagram?
Yeah, that's cool. Again, this comes up so important to me, is that being in contact, and from there the thing can unfold. It's like if somebody is going into finding something else out about themselves, and I see this, the connection between what you were saying about being the grounding cord and the bubble is like being with them and being in contact with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without it being a problem.
Do you think, I think that's enough for now. I don't know how long the video is.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Millicent.
Yeah.
And will you put it in the space holder? Oh, this one, I could put on my YouTube channel. James is organising me somewhere to put all these that only people with a passcode can access, like people who I know will, if there's any personal material of anyone's, will totally protect it and respect it.
Mhm.
So I don't know where it'll be. It can go in the space holder platform, please.
Yeah, and this recording will go onto your laptop because you pushed record. So
Totally.
will
I'll
you? Yeah, and also if you want me to cut it at all before you do that, you can put that. You can send it to me.
Yeah, thank you. Or I think let's just give it in the raw. Let's just put it in the raw. It doesn't have to be.
That's the raw place.
It's the raw place. All right. Lots of love, Millicent. And when you're inspired or have the space to do another review of something, let's be in touch.
Yeah. Thank you,
Bye.
Janet. Go
Bye.
well.